What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dad's Expensive Hobby.
What's up?
Today we are talking about the Figuarts Klilyn, or better known as Krillin from Dragon Ball. This is the old one. This is the Kid Krillin. And I'm really excited that I got this figure. I've had him for about a month now and actually forgot I bought him. I picked him up at a store outside of Columbus, Ohio called Hobbies Galore. And me and Gunner picked him up there last month right after we left GalaxyCon up in Columbus. This is a pretty darn good little figure. Couple little nitpicks about him, but nothing crazy. We'll talk about those here in a little bit. He's a pretty good little figure. But first things first, let's get him scaled up and see how small he is.
It's pretty small.
Okay, this little fella stands right at 3.5 inches tall, which would make him exactly 9.5 centimeters. Let's compare him to a couple of the other little figures that I have. I don't have a big bunch of them, but he has that most released Daima mini Goku right here, and he towers above that little fella. Look at that thing. And let's stand him next to the GT Goku, who he towers over as well. I do not have that older Goku that looks just like him. I don't have that figure yet, but this is the closest thing that I have to it. But he towers over both of them right now. Let's also stand him next to Bulma, The Adventure Begins, and I think that's pretty good. That's about, actually he could maybe be just a little bit shorter, but that's about how they looked in the anime when they were next to each other. And just for kicks, let's put Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku in the background there, and that's how everybody looks standing next to each other. I think that looks pretty good. That's all I've got for scale. I don't really have anything else relevant to put him next to. Let's take a look at his accessories.
Propane and propane accessories.
Now this little fella comes with a slew of accessories. I paid $50 for him, and he was sealed and new when I got him up there at Hobbies Galore, and so I wasn't too disappointed with that. I don't know exactly what he went for retail when he was new, but I'm just going to guess it was probably around what that Earth's Strongest Man Krillin goes for. But he does come with some good stuff. He comes with 3 head sculpts in total and a boatload of hands. He comes with kind of a smirking face on him in the package. He's got kind of a droopy-eyed, dopey face and an open-mouth yelling face. He comes with 2 fist hands on him in the package. He's got 2 open palm blast hands. He's got kind of a set of gripping hands. He's got a set of like kung fu grip hands. And he's got a set of like peace sign hands right here. And he also has a hand right here that's designed to grip the Dragon Ball. Here he is with the 6-star Dragon Ball and the little turtle stone right here. And here he is with the turtle stone. And he comes with a stand that doubles as a flight stand, and it functions as a stand for his Kamehameha blast. It is painted really well and looks good. I just don't like these lines right here and right here, like these mold lines. That's the only part I don't like about it, but otherwise it looks really good. And that's it. But for $50 that I paid for him, I think that is pretty darn good. He got a pretty nice little spread of stuff. And it all looked really good other than that little stand with the seam line in it. But that's not that big of a deal. That's all I've got for his accessories. Let's move in and take a look at his paint in detail.
I must paint you.
Oh, that's...
All right, there isn't much paint on this little fella, but what there is looks pretty good. The sculpt of all 3 of his head sculpts looks really nice. The paint on him is very clean. I like the fact that he has like skin colored eyes. They're not white. I like that very well. There's a little bit of paint on his chest here. His chest is painted and it matches the rest of the skin tones really well. There's a nice matte finish on his head. The rest of his body's a little bit satin. It's not satiny, but it's a little shinier than matte. The suit's actually got a matte finish on it. It looks really good. The sculpt looks nice on the suit. I like the orange color.
Thank you.
His little wrist wraps right here, they're painted and look really nice. His Turtle Hermit insignia on the chest and on the back are very clean. I have 0 issue with them. I always thought it was a little whiter than that kind of dull look right there. I thought it was a little whiter, but I could be wrong. His belt's kind of floaty, so it just moves around there, but it's not painted, it's just plastic. And his little shoes. Now the blue of his shoes is painted, and mine, and this could just be mine, has a little bit of spillover right there.
Holy Jesus.
And right there on this foot. The other foot is very, very clean, but this one has a couple, actually 3 spillover spots from paint.
What the fuck is that?
Bottom of his feet is just a gray plastic. But like I said, this foot right here looks really good. Just the other one has a couple little 3 spots where it's just, you know, kind of got smudged or something like that. I'm not going to rake him over the coals with it. And like I said, the sculpt looks pretty good. They didn't give him butt cheeks, so I'm very happy about that.
Directly in the buttocks.
But like I said, not much paint, but what there is looks halfway decent. All the head sculpt's paint looks really, really good. And the paint that was on that turtle stone, the emblem that was painted on it, looks good. And his blast effect paint looks really good. But that's all I've got for paint and detail for him. There's not a big bunch to actually go into. Let's take a look at his articulation.
Chin, shoulder, 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 shoulder.
All right, this little fella moves around really well. Let's start with his head. Head looks down really good, looks up pretty decently, and moves side to side just about however you want it. And that's because, get ready, because this is the weirdest looking little neck joint I have ever seen. It's like a really short double ball peg that is sitting on a hinge. So technically it's a ball hinge neck with a double ball peg attached to it. I don't know why they did that. I mean, it kind of almost gives us the effect of a double ball peg, but not really. His neck does not move. If you look right here, his neck doesn't move. It's just kind of a piece that's right there.
We have a problem.
So I don't know how I feel about that. But, I mean, the head works well enough. His little shoulders out to 90 and beyond with 0 problems. I really like his little shoulders. They come across him fantastic. You can crisscross his hands, so I love that. That little shoulder cap right there. It's like a ball and socket, and it moves around inside there. It's really, really nice. He has a little bicep swivel. Single jointed elbow. Comes up to, I'm going to call it 91, 92 degrees. It works perfectly fine. I have 0 problem with it. And it looks pretty good. The entire elbow is just a big ball hinge right there. Wrists are on a ball hinge, and they work perfectly fine. Diaphragm joint. He has a nice crunch, but at certain angles, if you don't squish him down, you get this big gap right there. That looks like crap. And that is because his middle, like his diaphragm, if you can see right there, that is like a hinge and a ball peg that's up in there, and man, that looks really weird. But if you keep him kind of smashed down like this, you can avoid a lot of that and still get pretty decent range out of him. But at certain angles, he can get a little gappy in the back. I'm not even gonna lie to you there, but they do work really well. And the waist down here, but underneath this belt, there is a ball peg in there, and it works in tandem with that too. So you don't really even need to pop him up. You can just get some nice little crunch and lean back that way. He tilts pretty good. You can twist him all the way around with no problem. His little legs come out to almost 180 degrees. His splitting ability is pretty darn decent. Got a little bit of dangle right here, a little angle to his dangle. I don't really know if that was avoidable or not. Like I've told you before, I am not an engineer. His front kick is great. His joints are all really smooth and move really well. Front kicks really well. He can kick back because he has no butt cheek, so he can hit a Mary Lou split as well. That's fantastic in my opinion. Has a thigh swivel. Single jointed knee. I don't really know how I feel about that because, I mean, I guess they could have gave him a double jointed knee. I don't know why, but because the reason why I have a problem with it is if you look right here, it looks like they sculpted space to make the knee go a little bit past 90, and it still doesn't. So I don't really know what the point of kind of carving out the back of his leg was for, since it didn't give him any more range of motion. And that knee joint, that doesn't look great. I mean, it's not killing me, but it's not, that doesn't look the greatest ever, but it does function. It goes a little bit past 90, and I guess that's really all he needs. It's not like he needs to be able to kick himself in the butt all the time. Now, the highlight, equal to the greatness of his shoulders, is his ankles. His ankles are a ball hinge down here, and they kick up fantastic. They kick down fantastic. Great ankle rocker right there. So he has really, really, really good ankles on him. Really good ankles and shoulders.
I'm just living my dream, man. I'm happy.
His toe hinge makes me want to puke, but almost all of them do. It has that same, if you can see that effect right there, just like how the Gokus do, how that kind of points whenever you break the toe, it like sticks out past the bottom. I don't like that. I think it looks terrible. Why don't they just get rid of toe hinges altogether? But I understand the importance of foot and ankle flexibility for posing. But anyway, that is the extent of his articulation. He articulates pretty darn good, especially in the shoulders and ankles and legs. Abdomen's really functional, but it doesn't look all that great. But then again, like, when you have a really good articulation point, sometimes you lose how pretty something is. But that's all I've got for his articulation. It is very, very good. Way, way, way above average. Let's move in and talk about my final thoughts.
100% full-on attention.
All right. Final thoughts on little Klilyn here. He is a pretty darn good little figure. I am glad I picked him up. But let's keep the emphasis on little figure as we move forward here. You don't get a lot of plastic. He's 3.5 inches tall. There's not much to him. And there's not much paint on him at all. And I don't really like that. I like my figures painted. But his sculpt and representation looks really good. There is no doubt this is Krillin, and he comes with really good articulation except for a couple little things, and his accessories are really, really good. Now let's keep in mind, he is a $50 figure, so you got to hold him to a little bit higher standard. At a $50 price point, not very much paint, articulation, and some of the aesthetic, like that neck right there, that is really that's weird, and I'm sorry, but I gotta hold it against him. I don't know what the point of that was.
Help me!
No neck movement whatsoever. This hinge makes him really gappy right there. And the single jointed knee not going past 90, that's weird, even though it was sculpted to go past 90. I'm gonna have to hold that against him and give him a B. This is a solid B figure. I highly recommend, if you find him, go ahead and pick him up because he is worth it. Just keep those little things in mind, but I think you're going to be very, very pleased if you pick him up. I also recommend that you check out my other videos. We're on the road to 500 subscribers and we need your help, so subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And with all that said, this has been Dad with Dad's Expensive Hobby, and we'll talk to you all in the next video.